right, I'm here with Representative Tina Orwall from the 33rd Legislative District, and we're here to talk about some of the work that she's doing to prevent youth suicide.
You know, we've been working on this issue for a while in the legislature, and we need to. It's an epidemic. We're losing 2 to 3 young adults between the ages of 14 and 24 every week in our state. And they've seen an 80% increase in suicides of youth between the ages of 11 and 17. And so as we're working on it, we're trying to make sure that our schools have the tools they need. We started by training counselors, social workers, psychologists, and trying to put crisis plans in the schools. What we're realizing now is the next steps are to make sure everyone is trained. I mean, it really should be like CPR, where everyone knows the signs and symptoms and knows what to do. So we'll be providing intensive training, which will include students and parents. And we're also looking at crisis plans. We have examples where a student is suicidal and maybe their parents aren't notified. They've left the school and they don't realize their child's in crisis. So we want really clear supports in place to make sure when there's a crisis, we're doing everything we can to support that student.
And I know you have 3 bills this year. Why don't you talk a little bit more about House Bill 1221 and HB 1721?
Again, I think these bills are really looking at our K-12 system. One of the things we're doing is we actually have a very high rate of suicide in Eastern Washington. It's even higher than Western Washington. And some of the models we've done are to provide a whole support team through the University of Washington Forefront. So we will target 12 schools in Eastern Washington, as well as strengthening the work we're doing in the communities here in Western Washington. I also think that it's really important that the counselors have the ability to outreach to other mental health experts. So Children's Hospital, they want to be a partner. They want to start seeing how they could support the personnel like the counselors in schools when they're challenged on a case where they don't know how to help a student. So again, we're going to strengthen those ties between the schools and the community mental health centers.
And what are we doing to train more people to recognize these symptoms?
Well, UW Forefront, which is an organization created around suicide prevention, is teaming up with different parts of the school districts. There's called ESDs, which are the service districts that provide training and support to all kinds of school districts. They're going to have someone on site who is an expert, who can go into the schools and train teachers and parents and students. And they also will be available to help if they need to refer to a mental health center and they don't know who to refer to. That expert can help make sure those linkages happen. We have a lot of great mental health professionals, but they're not all necessarily trained with evidence-based treatments for suicide prevention. The most effective training, dialectic behavioral therapy, which is called DBT, was actually founded at the University of Washington by Dr. Marsha Linehan. And what we're finding is a lot of counselors don't necessarily have this skill set, yet it's the most effective treatment to help youth who are suicidal and veterans as well. And so we are working with the University of Washington and other schools of social work to actually have a certificate program where either social workers going through the program or community members can go back and get this enhanced training. It is really intense. It's not only training skills, but it's also supervision to make sure you know how to use those skills. But we think that's one of the most effective ways we can support the workforce to really treat and help support people who are suicidal.